So listen, you are kicking off my holiday weekend in such a great way. I was totally looking forward to meeting you today and speaking with you. So thank you so much for making time to chat with me. I really
No problem.
appreciate it.
It's all good. Thank you.
And of course, we have the three-time Grammy Award winning Mr. Sadiq himself, someone who has 4 decades, almost 4 decades in the game. When you hear that, what comes over you? Because it has to move you or sway you in some type of way.
I don't know. It depends. I mean, I'm very lucky and blessed. All those kind of things, kind of come to me and just excited about it. And I was also excited that so many people I got to share it with. So many musicians, so many journalists, publicists, um, filmmakers, so many different stories of music have happened. So I'm just really grateful. Yeah.
Yeah. And before we get into Sinners and the hit song I Lied to You, I want to know, when did Mr. Sadiq himself fall in love with music? When did you fall in
Uh,
love with music?
I fell in love with music probably. I was born with music, so probably as I can remember, maybe 7 years old, 5 or 6, maybe 6 or 7. Really like seven. I think when I started hearing Motown music, when I started noticing like BB King and Marvin Gaye. I don't think I knew Marvin's name, but I knew his music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's talk about this hit show, this film Centers, that has like created so much buzz. I mean, this project is absolutely bananas in the best way. But how did you come on board with this project?
Well, how I came on board was I got a phone call from a friend to tell me that Ludwig he's a composer. He scores music. He also he's a music producer, and he works on all some of the best films out. Oppenheimer. He did Black Panther. He does all Ryan Coogler's films. Um, he hit me up and he invited me to his studio, and I came over and he pitched it to me. He pitched the story to me, but he didn't tell me why, what he wanted, anything like that. And then Ryan Coogler, we hopped on the Facebook. We were from the Bay, and then Ryan got on the phone and he sort of pitched what the story was about in a different way. He kind of explained to me about um, his uncle was really into blues, and so it's a story about you know Christian life and blues life, and it was cool because that's how I grew up. I grew up in a house that it was Christian. It was a Christian house, but you come off from church and you could crack open a Ham's beer, So I sort of knew about that, and they pitched it and said, "Hey, we need a song though." Like, and I'm cool. I'm down. Like, I'm thinking I get to go back to my studio and work on it. They're like, "Can we do it now?" I'm like right now, like yeah, like right now. And so that's what we did. It was a challenge. I love a challenge, and so me and Luke, he plays guitar too, and his dad's a blues guitarist, and he's like a hell of a guitarist too. So we just sat down and we just jammed for like 2 hours,
Mm.
and we came up with some guitar riffs and everything. And once it started flowing, I started writing lyrics,
Oh my
and
God.
then I walked up to the board and just recorded my own lyrics, recorded myself, and that was it. And I think I didn't see it until they left to New Orleans 2 days later to film. And I thought I saw it. I was invited. Ryan invited me to watch it at IMAX with some of the crew and some of his family. And that's the first time I saw it. So I would say it happened because it's just divine intervention. Like if you stay working and you stay busy and you love what you do, um, sometimes, uh, sometimes it falls for you, and if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. And I love music, and that's how it happened. I would say Ryan and Ludwig called me, and they just really told me the story like it was their own story. So that's how it happened.
Wow. But you previously mentioned that it was a challenge, which I'm sure that it was, but can you speak a little about like what were some of those challenges that you faced throughout the process? Like what did that look like for you? I mean, you're an icon, you're a legend. Like people like, okay, listen, he can do this in his sleep, right? So what does like a piece like this challenging someone like you of your stature look like?
It looks like it looks like I don't know. It looks like a director staring me in my face and asking me to deliver something um, that I know is going to be great,
Yeah.
and so that's the challenge. It's going to be great, um, and you want to deliver. You want to deliver. So I guess that looks like putting on your thinking cap, and I work better under pressure. Man,
Mhm.
I don't know that I like the pressure, but I think I do like the pressure because I've always did good under pressure when it comes to music. And yeah, when somebody, I mean, it looks like I have to grab a guitar. I just think about times when I was working on Tony albums, and we would turn in a complete album, and the label would say, um, "This is a nice album, but we need an impact single." The album is done already. We already have, Lay Your Head on My Pillow. We already have Whatever You Want. Dwayne already has Whatever You Want. We already have these songs, but they're like, but we need an impact single. And you always have to go back to the lab and figure it out. With every group I've been with, Lucy Pearl, my albums, me working with D'Angelo, like I needed an impact record. So I went back and did, You Should Be Here. And those are all the challenges, all those records that come out first that you've heard in my career. They that's what it's been like. It's been somebody staring me in my face saying we need an impact single, impact record. Same with John Singleton, Boys in the Hood, Just Me and You. Same thing. He came to me and pitched me a movie the same way Ryan Coogler did and said, "Hey, it's a scene with Neil Long and Cuba Gooding Jr. and they're gonna be making out in this gymnasium, and I need a song right here." He never showed me the clip. So like they never showed me the clip because with Sinners, the movie wasn't even done. They hadn't started shooting. Um, but with Boys in the Hood, it had already been shot, and so I had a lot of practice with people pitching me things, and then I have to go create it. I think I'm the best when somebody gives me a visual. I love writing to visuals and stuff like that. I have this sort of like mind with a bunch of visions in it that I have to get out.
Yeah.
So the more challenges I get with people giving me these visuals, I can work through that.
What do you do? And I'm curious, I'm going off script here a little bit. Someone like you do to really tap in, lock in, and to get into that space of approaching a project. Like, what does that look like for you? Are you meditating for like 3 days? Are you just drinking hot tea for like 48 hours, cutting off family and friends? Like, invite me into that space.
And now I don't really cut off family. I cut off when I did my one man show. I cut off a lot of people because I have to, at 8 o'clock, people are gonna be watching me, right? So as far as a song, I think my immediate family is part of it. Talking to family and talking to really good friends and telling them what I'm about to do, so that it puts more heat on me also. And I have to go through this. And I'm not gonna be on the phone or no socials or anything like that. Just, you know, I think we work better without. I mean, most the best music ever written or composed by me is before social media.
I could believe that.
So so I know that some of the best things that were written by other composers and film people was all before social media. So I try to get back to that as much as I can.
So that leads me to ask you something else. What are your thoughts on music nowadays and the global influence that it's having in general? Because I'm an 80s baby, right? So I grew up
Okay.
listening to your music. I listen to your music all the time. I think my mom is upstairs playing it right now as she's cooking her dinner for Thanksgiving. And it's just not the same. Not only
Yeah.
the artists, and this is no shame to any of the modern day artists, but I feel like on the listener's end of things, there is a huge difference in the music nowadays compared to the music I listened to growing up. What are your sentiments and your thoughts around it?
I think there's a lot of great music, a lot of great musicians, the same as when we were coming up. I just think there's an industry that doesn't, the algorithm doesn't, or the executives don't push the good people to the front. Um, Music is the only, I feel like music is one of the only things that changed for the worse. I feel like sports, you still have to catch a touchdown. Basketball, you still have to shoot a 3-pointer. It has to still go in the basket. Um, and music, you can shoot an air ball and it's kind of celebrated. We don't have like rules. We don't need music. Music is no rules. I'll say that it's no rules, but the competition is different. It's not everybody want to sound like each other, and a lot of people want to sound like each other. And when we were coming up, you were influenced by Stevie and pop groups, and you wanted big records. But when you walked out of that garage, you were competing with the next person, and then the competition now is competing for followers. And in my generation, not knocking the generation, I always laugh when I talk to my nephews, and my nephew's kind of like me though. They young, but they old dudes really. They older cats. But
Mhm.
but I think that it's funny to me because I love technology. I do, but I do know like we just didn't grow up. The biggest word in our life wasn't followers. I'm following you. We would never say we following somebody. The biggest thing now is people say they following people, and that's just the difference right there. But I will say there's a ton of great musicians out, and there's a ton of great music, but they're probably a little scared to try to do something that's like really good because they're not gonna make money right really fast, and kids don't get together like we got together. A lot of them don't together in a garage and say let's work out something and present it to to the people that's walking down the street. It's most of them are TikTok artists. A lot of them not making any money. That's such a long conversation. But I will say that I think the best music was made before streaming.
Yeah, for sure.
I will stand on that.
Does it tick you
Yeah.
off as an artist? Like, does it frustrate you or dishearten you
Nah.
in any way, shape, or form?
Nah. It doesn't dishearten me or make me mad because I just feel like I was talking to Isaac Hayes, rest in peace, to the late great Isaac Hayes, and he told me, he said, "There's no such thing of old school. It's either you went to school or you didn't."
Yeah.
So there's kids that's being schooled the right way, and then there's ones that are not. There was always trash music in the '60s too. If you look at somebody like Count Basie, and then you look at Duke Ellington, then you look at Sarah Vaughan, or you look at uh, Anita Baker, they may say Anita Baker and Earth, Wind and Fire was a little watered down. You know what I mean? Compared to what they were doing. You look at Earth, Wind and Fire, then you look at Tony. Maurice White might say they're good, but they might be a little watered down to what we were doing. I would agree. That was a different level of like orchestration and horns and arranging. And it was a lot more how they did it. And then our generation may look at this next generation and say, somebody's pretty good, but they're a little watered down. But I think this generation is a little closer to what we were doing. Some of them, like the Thundercats, the Steve Lacy's, but the people that play guitars and drums, But then like this pop era, like this, like other thing, that's not close. We're gonna say that's watered down or that's trash. It doesn't move me, or we won't play it in our house. But we'll like, we'll listen to it. It just happened to come on if I'm walking down the street and it's come out of some store.
Yeah.
But I close this by saying everything, it's every all the records that people make today, everybody's not vinyl worthy.
Yeah. Ooh.
Everything's not vinyl worthy. Some people will make records for record companies and they'll just put it on Spotify, Apple, whatever streaming platform, and
Yeah.
that's where it will live. But everybody's not vinyl worthy. So you
Mm.
don't deserve to be on a piece of vinyl, but streaming, yeah, it's taking no time for that, you
Yeah.
know?
Ooh, that was so powerful what you just said.
Yeah.
Before we get ready to wrap, I feel like that is also a perfect, somewhat segue into Miles. How much did you collaborate with Miles yourself, like working on this piece and throughout this entire center's journey? And what are your thoughts on an artist like him?
Miles, see, that's okay. Speaking of, that's an inherited soul. Like that voice is so huge, so big. Um, I have like a tenor voice, I'm like almost I'm a tenor guy. I've always been the first tenor. Like, so when I write songs that sound like blues, my dad was like, you can't sing it like you. You have to sing it like this other dude, like Bobby Blue Bland. You have to change your tone. You have to act it out. You have to. Miles can just open up his mouth and it's there. Bobby Blue Bland can just open up his mouth and he's there. Now I'm sure Miles don't want to be Bobby Blue Bland. He's a young dude. He's trying to figure out his music career and his film career in a commercial sense. But when he sings those songs, um, he sounds like he's from the 40s. He has that type of he could do a lot of things with his voice. But when I wrote it, I knew there was going to be a bluesier guy singing it, and when I wrote the lyrics and the vocal texture, um, I didn't hear him sing it. Ludwig recorded it with him. Luke recorded with him, but when I heard it, I was like, wow. It just makes you want to write songs and give them to people with voices like that because I love to hear voices like that. He's amazing, and he's sort of like his voice fit the texture of the cinematography, the film, the clothes, the cars, the people, the ancestors. It was, yeah. I when I heard it, I don't know. I didn't know what I was hearing when I first heard it. So it took me like the second time to watch the movie, the film, and I was like, wow, who is this young man, this dude with this big voice? But and black voices, that's what we have.
Yeah.
They don't have the opportunity to do that. All of black voices are just like that. A lot of them.
Yeah.
It's a lot of Aretha's out there. It's a lot of Nita Bakers. It's a lot of Shaka Khans out there, but they don't have that avenue to explore that. And lucky for Miles, he had an avenue to showcase that voice on some
Yeah.
music that was before his time.
Can we see like collaboration with you two down the line?
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, of course. He's super easy to work with. He's really smart, and he's easy to be around. And the time will be it. But myself, Ludwig, and Miles perform the song sometimes. We do arrangements like right before we walk on the stage, and Miles is like, "Let's go, folks." And that's how it's supposed to be, like a huddle, like a football huddle. You talk and but let's do it. He's easy like that. So if someone's that easy to work with, I'm sure we'll work together down the line.
Okay, and I know you have to go, but if you can like wrap up what being a part of Centers, this project has meant to you, especially during this phase of your career, like how would you wrap that up?
I would say being a part of Centers is nothing more special than being part of it of something that's going to be part of history forever. And I'm just glad that I could put my 2 cents in and be a part of this beautiful cast and people and and for people. I mean, also to go into a movie theater and watch this. I know it's such an experience for people, and it's gonna keep on being an experience. So I'm just deeply honored, and I'm blessed that Ryan gave me the call, and I'm glad I could deliver. Yeah.
Oh my God, you are literally the best ever. Thank you so much for making time to chat
Thank you.
with me today.
Thank you.
I'm gonna do
Appreciate you.
one more thing, and I know you probably can't do it, and you probably won't do it, but I do want to put you in the hot seat. Lay your
Okay.
hand on my pillow. My
Yeah.
favorite song of all times. Can you give me and the people out there just a little something?
Oh, no, I just walk out. You can't get it. It's too late. It's too early. I just got up.
Oh, next time.
All
Thank
right.
you so much, and
All
congrats on
right.
everything.
Thank you.